Good morning, Chad.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hey,
I can hear
this is
you.
better than the last couple times, isn't it? Bug,
Yeah, it's
bug free,
perfect. It sounds
bug
great.
free.
It's noon. It's noon in Florida. It's 9 a.m. in Reno. I'm speaking with CEO Chad Peters, Ridgeline Minerals. You put out news this morning, Chad. I noticed you didn't have a headline hole, but you had a foot. You had like a header that says hole 50 24.4 meters, grading 321.9 grams per ton silver equivalent. So you have about 134 grams silver, 2.5% lead, 2.4% zinc, and a little sprinkling of gold in there in the upper chinchilla zone. So can you tell us about this morning's news and how should we interpret this news?
Yeah, well, part of the reason Hole 50 wasn't in the headline was specifically because we wanted to see, we wanted people to see that we hit these new mineralized horizons, right? That was a really important part of this program, was proving that it wasn't just the upper Chinchilla zone, right? That there's multiple zones beneath that. We did prove that with this program. We hit a nice zone in hole 50, like you said, 321 silver equivalent over 24 meters. That included, multiple intercepts ranging from, half a meter to 4 meters or 5 meters, sorry, of anywhere from 600 grams to 1300 grams silver equivalent. So, really nice high grades, consistent with what we've drilled in the past. At Chinchilla, and what really got us excited though is actually the drilling that we did beneath the Chinchilla zone for the very first time. Previously, we had only ever drilled the top 100 meters, let's call it, of the prospective host horizon. This time we took the holes down to 700 meters depth, and we actually in hole 49, for example, the very last sample of the drill hole actually ended up running zero point 0.4 meters of 45 grams per ton, so of silver. So still in system, even at the bottom of the holes at 700 meters depth. We hit multiple intercepts ranging from half a meter to 3 meters thick, all the way down the hole, probably about 7 to 10 intervals between the two holes, 49 and 50 beneath. And it shows that, we're hitting this CRD system. It continues, and there's great discovery potential now. We now know that instead of, every drill hole we test from now on will be going all the way through the host horizon, and there's over 3.5 kilometers of strike all the way out to the porphyry that's currently being explored by Freeport McMoran. So it's a pretty exciting opportunity for us. And we're hoping that shareholders kind of clue in on some of the some more subtle parts of this press release that we think are very important.
Yeah, so the stacked, horizons is the important takeaway here. And you have a section in here showing it's a little busy, but holes 47, 49, and 50 I can see quite clearly. Um, and then it looks like there's a deeper hole, but maybe that was a hole that was drilled previously. And you can see like the colors, you can see the different layers. There's multiple layers of grade there: silver, lead, zinc, and a little gold. So, you knew that this had a nice higher zone in the, in the oxides that carried some pretty good grade. But it was the deeper stuff that was the main objective of this program. Is that
Well,
correct?
that's a fair assumption, right? Like I'm never gonna get upset about drilling, 1,000 kilogram per ton silver, which we did. So I mean, that's always exciting and a big thing for the project. But bigger picture, I mean, I think if you followed the company for a long time, anyone that's followed the company, we don't go after small things, right? We're trying to find big deposits, stuff that matters to majors to come in and buy off of us, right? And to to have Selena be one of those projects, we had to prove that there was these stacked horizons at depth. Now, we hit, I think the best intercept was about a meter and a half of 230 grams silver equivalent. So, I mean, that's not an economic intercept yet. But we know from what we know of the system so far, you get on the right side of the fault, you get on, there's so many factors that control mineralization, but, we now know we have these prospective beds. They are mineralizing. We just have to keep drilling, drill some of our highest priority targets, especially out in the sulfide target, now that we know that we have that scale potential. And that's where I think we go and find hopefully the Taylor type discovery that we're looking for.
So what kind of scale are we talking about here? So there's the porphyry that Freeport it has nearby. How far away is that from where you guys put the pads in this
Four
program?
kilometers.
So 4,000
Yeah,
meters. Okay, that's pretty
yeah,
good.
and that's
That's a pretty good
That's the
distance.
exact size. If you look, the distance from the edge of the Taylor deposit to the edge of the Sunnyside porphyry is exactly 4 kilometers. So we know that
Mm.
we can fit a meaningful tonnage deposit in that footprint. We also now know that it's much thicker vertically than we'd previously thought. So you combine those two things together. The fact that we drilled a single hole out in the Chinchilla sulfide target back in 2022, 2.5 kilometers down dip of this drill hole that we just or hole 50, for example, and that hit um, 24 meters of like 200 grams silver equivalent, give or take, in the exact same host horizon as the Chinchilla oxide zone, and that included
Hmm.
up to 3 meters of 600 grams silver equivalent. There was massive sulfides in that intercept. It shows that the system is transitioning to sulfide as we get closer to this porphyry, and we had up to 3 grams per ton gold. So all signs for us are pointing to, all right, we now know definitively we have the scale to host a significant, like what would be considered, if we're correct, a globally significant CRD deposit. We have the footprint, we have the scale, and we now know we have the grade as well. So it's just a matter of getting out into that valley, I think, and
Hmm.
continuing to vector back towards the porphyry. I mean, Peter McGaw, his kind of thumb suck rule, I guess you could call it, is when you have a deposit, find the edges of your system with a CRD, which is usually the distal silver lead zinc. Find the porphyry source, and then go directly in between the middle of the two, and that's where you should be looking. So directly between those two is our Chinchilla sulfide target at this point. So
Mm.
yeah.
So the suite of metals that you have found with the last two programs have told you where you are in the system. The zonation is telling you where you are approximately, in relative terms to the porphyry source, and so now you need to vector back towards that porphyry source.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's tough, because I think something that's really important to point out is, for folks who've been following this story, it's probably felt like a long, drawn out story, right? It's been like 2.5 years of us saying, hey, we have this porphyry, we're figuring it out. Unfortunately, with the markets the way they've been, we've been cash strapped, right? So we've only drilled 10,000 meters on this project to date, right? That if in a different market in a different time, I would have been able to get that amount of drilling done in a single season, right? And so, what I'm point, although it's felt like, even for me too, right? Like this has been a slow process of, understanding where we are in the system, how big could it be? But we're there now. Like, I feel like this is the tipping point for the company. I know exactly, our team knows exactly where we're going with the next drill program. And we think it's a pretty significant one. This is the one where we say, okay, we're either we have it or we don't, is this next drill program. Because
So the chinchilla sulfide target is the next target that needs to be drilled properly. So what's the timeline to drill that target? How big does the drill program have to be? What will the budget be for that
Well, we
program?
want to put another 10,000 meters into the skarn and chinchilla sulfide targets at, in the next, call it 12, hopefully 12 to 18 months, right? And to do that, we have multiple options. We can see how the markets turn here. It looks like we're kind of on the cusp of things turning. I'm certainly not going to raise the funds to drill a 10,000 meter drill program where we're currently trading. It's just not going to happen. That's too dilutive. So, if the markets continue to improve, we can raise equity, start drilling the project. There's also options, corporate options for us to bring in partners that are willing to take either a minority or a majority stake in the project to see serious money get put in the ground. So, not saying that's the direction we're going, but we are assessing all options for moving it forward at this point. What I'm not going to do is issue 60 million shares of the company to go out and drill this summer, right? It's just not on the table for us. I'm not doing it. I'm the largest shareholder, and I'd like to stay that way. So, so yeah, so we are moving things forward. we have enough cash right now to comfortably continue moving things forward and assessing what our options are, and we'll be nimble about raising capital or doing deals when those present themselves. So we're actively looking at multiple opportunities right now. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense, and you're saying it exactly, like it is with no sugarcoating. Just looking at your presentation, just got to ask you this
sure.
question. It says 3,000 meter drill program, and it looks like you did 2,000. So what happened there?
Yeah, pretty much. We had some drill break mechanical issues with the drill that slowed us down, and we lost a drill hole. And we hit a point where we realized, okay, we believe that we can, answer the same question about the deeper horizons with 2,000 meters as we can with three, and not run into the winter season. Right? You start getting the cold weather up here. It's a 7,000 feet, Selena, so it was already, you know, 5 degrees out at the drill rig back in late October, right? So we were getting snow, we were getting ugly weather, and we decided, you know what, we've proved our theory here. Let's keep some powder dry, and look forward to next year. And I think it was the right choice. Honestly, markets have been tough, and I
Hmm.
don't think drilling one extra hole, delivering similar results, would have moved the needle any further ahead for us.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, the thing is that I understand the news that you put out here this morning, and I can interpret, and I spend the time to speak to you and comprehend what the plan is and what you've learned so far and what the plan is going forward. But I think a lot of investors don't spend the
Sure.
time, and they just look at a few holes and they see one with pretty decent grade, but they don't really understand the target and how big this could be, and what could be next, and they move
Yep.
on. And that's just, the unfortunate way it is in the
Yep.
sector. People pay more attention when your share price is rising than when your share price is falling. And unfortunately, for Ridgeline, it's been falling in 2023, and that's why I made it a tax loss pick on Tuesday. So you guys are on my list
Hey.
of tax loss opportunities for 2023. So that's the glass half full side of
I'm
it.
hoping
The share price is
I'm
low.
hoping one year you come to me and say your stock price is too high. I can't put you on the tax loss list.
Well, that's next
That's
year.
next year,
That's
right?
going to be
All right.
next year. Yeah, you got to make that happen, Chad. But one of the reasons why I picked RDG is you. Okay, that's number one. Number two, your set of assets, your projects, your know-how in this business, your team, and then the third one I would say is actually Big Blue. So it's your sort of second project. It's the one that's warming up in the
Yep.
bullpen. It's on the same porphyry trend, okay, on the eastern part of the state, and it is very, very interesting to me. There's a lot of, we call it smoke in the junior mining sector. There's a lot of smoke at Big Blue. So tell me, what is the plan there in 2024, and how do you get this project to the point where people start to pay attention to it?
No, for sure. I mean, Big Blue actually is a major part of our plans moving forward too, right? I think something we always try to do is we always have a new project coming up the pipeline, right? Like we originally started at Swift and Carlin East. That was our early focus in 2019, 2020, even into 2021. We then dealt those projects to Nevada Gold Mines. We felt that was the best way to move those projects forward and keep a retained interest in the projects. Selena is now at a point where we're really excited about the potential of the project. And now the big question is, okay, how do we aggressively move this project forward? And if we do a deal, let's say a really good deal, like we always structure quality deals, with carried interest for our projects. If we do that, then Big Blue goes right into front and center as our 100% exploration focus. And there's a good reason why. Selena produced 95,000 pounds of copper, or sorry, Selena, Big Blue produced 95,000 pounds of copper at 6.2% in the early 1900s, right? Like hand operations, pick and shovel kind of stuff, and then got forgotten about for 100 years. And then who comes along, later on is Peter McGaw and the Rain of Silver team. They picked up the Medicine Springs project, which they actually said, they go, okay, this is the silver lead zinc portion. It's an old producing mine as well. It's a silver lead zinc portion of a larger porphyry system. And they felt that they could, zone back into or vector back into a high grade CRD. Well, we came in and we actually staked what appears to be, the porphyry source. We have the high grade skarn at Delker mine, which is on the Big Blue project. Um, we have the porphyry source, we have the skarn, and we have the lion's share of what you'd call the strike extent of that system. And there's a big structural zone that you can see in geophysics. You can map it as well. That extends all the way onto the Medicine Springs project. And so they just put out their most recent round of results. They hit 3 meters of 300 grams silver and about 12% lead zinc combined, right? And that's directly on the trend. It's only a kilometer and a half from the edge of our property boundary, and it's on that same structural trend. So, they're trading at a $40 million market cap right now. And I think since they've announced that deal, they've added about $10 million to the market cap since they announced those drill holes. So, um, we're hitting just as good a results at Selena. See just that kind of scale. We see the exact kind of potential at Big Blue as well. And if you take Peter's approach, which is, hey, find your porphyry source, find the edge of your system, go halfway in between. Well, halfway in between is directly on the Big Blue project, right? So we think there's an incredible opportunity there. Reyna doesn't look for small things either. So yeah, if next year, we'd like to do some geophysics at Big Blue. We'd like to do additional mapping. We'll see what Reyna Silver keeps on doing on their side of the boundary. And ideally, in a perfect world, I'd love to do a maiden drill program in the summer at Big Blue as well. And we'll just have to see what we're able to pull together, for deals and financing and get the project moving forward. So,
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, when you see a company like Hercules Silver,
yep.
big, have the success that they've had in getting Barrick Gold to come in and invest $30 million in them on one drill hole, porphyry hole, a deeper porphyry hole. They were guided by the IP. What kind of ideas do you get? Because it's like at Big Blue, you have a very similar kind of target. You just haven't done enough to get it to that stage yet,
Well, you
right?
can look at our deck, and there's actually, we've got a 3D mag inversion directly beneath the Delker mine, which shows 300 meters beneath the Delker mine is a large mag anomaly, which we believe represents a skarn body or the upper extents of a porphyry body. And so there's incredible potential just to drill underneath the existing mine. Which what better thing to do, right? Than if where do you search for a new deposit? Look under an old mine. Well, we already know there's high grade copper at Delker. We want to drill directly beneath it, test that mag anomaly, which has never been tested. And if we hit anything like that, yeah, there's a Hercules type trajectory that I think you could see for us as well. So that's a big reason why we're excited about Big Blue as well, right? Is that copper component just has so much weight to it, and it excites investors. It's something that I think carries more weight than necessarily sometimes silver, lead, and zinc, which can, like you said, can sometimes be hard for investors to look at and go, well, what is this worth? How do I compare it to a pure silver hit or a pure gold hit, which is why we started putting the silver equivalents in our Selena press releases, just as an us, hey, we're hitting this, or you could view it as 1,300 gram silver equivalent. We're trying to provide context for people to be able to look and understand. So yeah, no, I think Big Blue has incredible potential. Copper is an exciting commodity, and I think it's only going to get better. And after seeing how Hercules has had that run, we'd like to replicate that with Ridgeline. So I think the way to do that is potentially Big Blue.
Yeah. Well said. So I'm just looking at the presentation. By the way, if you are, listening to this on my YouTube channel, which probably a lot of people are going to be in the future, take a look at the Ridgeline deck, slides 19, showing the CRD checklist, and then a very instructive graphic showing the oxide, the sulfide, the skarn target, and then the porphyry source. And, you can kind of understand the results here this morning a little bit better and how they've just sort of scratched maybe like the fingernail of this whole system so far. There's a lot more meat here on this project. And then scroll down to slide 21 for Big Blue and seeing all of that interpretation and what he was talking about with the Reyna Silver project and the results that Reyna Silver put out last week that have gotten some market attention. And just, put the pieces of the puzzle, do your own work on this. But Ridgeline is a very interesting opportunity here. And it's been sold down basically 50% in 2023 due to a combination of factors, but mostly just a very tough market and people not really getting what this company is doing. So it's an opportunity for Chad and the team to have the market get it in 2024. And that's going to require some more hard work and good results. But that's why I picked these guys, because I think they can do it. Chad, you have anything else to add? I know you got to go.
No, but I think you framed it really well. So we're going to try to, I think the whole goal this year is we're going to really try to frame the investment opportunity for Ridgeline to the market, right? Like why are we a really exciting opportunity? I believe we are. You think we are as well, but I think that's the next step is getting the market to feel the same. So
You got to drill that hole, that 2305, that hole that's just like,
Wow.
there it is.
yeah,
It can all change with one drill
I know.
hole. That's the fun about this
I
business,
think
right?
Hercules is like literally the classic example. I've never seen a company rip on one hole like I've seen Hercules take off, right? One drill hole. And it was a great drill hole, right?
Well, but with a porphyry, and you'll agree, and that's why Big Blue is so sexy to
Yep.
me. Like with a porphyry, that one hole can show grade and it can show scale with one hole. You can't do
Yep.
that with like a high grade gold vein or
Nope.
something, right?
No, exactly. Yeah, you need multiple holes. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. So, no, Big Blue's really exciting. I think we can show that grade and scale next year at Selena as well, and hopefully, it's a big year for us. Thanks for having me
Okay,
on.
great. Thanks, Chad. Yeah, so I'm a shareholder of Ridgeline. I picked them on my end of year tax loss list again this year. 2024 is the year. Thanks a lot, Chad. Have a great
Thanks, bud.
day.
See ya.
Cheers.